Well, hello everyone. I'm thrilled today to be joined by Representative Nadine Nakamura. Representative Nakamura, thank you so much for coming on with She Politics. I wanted to start this interview by asking you to please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and what inspired you to enter politics.
Sure. I'm serving my eighth year now in the State House of Representatives. I represent District 15, which is on one-third of the island of Kauai on the east and north side of the island. I started, I graduated from Radford High School, went to the University of Southern California for my undergraduate degree and in urban studies, urban planning, and public affairs. And then I went to the University of Hawaii and got my master's degree in urban and regional planning. I worked in Honolulu and married a Kauai boy and eventually moved here. And lived here for over 30 years. I have I was a planning consultant for over 20 years, and I uh, ran for office for the Kauai County Council in 2010, served for 3 years, also served as managing director for the County of Kauai under Mayor Carvalho. And when there was an opening at the state legislature in the House of Representatives, I ran for office and I got elected. That was 8 years ago. So I'm very happy to be serving as majority leader in the House of Representatives.
Wow, congratulations. That's such an inspiring story. Could you tell us a little bit more about some of the current issues that you're focusing on during this term?
Sure. One of the main things that I wanted to accomplish was to just see more affordable housing built in Hawaii. And so, the gamut ranging from very low income housing all the way to affordable home ownership opportunities. And so I did serve at one point as housing committee chair. I've introduced and passed legislation to help to build more affordable housing by creating new programs such as a loan program for families who want to build their own homes, owner-built housing. I've also introduced a funding for the rental housing revolving fund, creating a new tier that's targeted for working families. So affordable rental housing for working families. Without subsidies, these homes will not be built because the cost of building housing is so expensive in Hawaii. So government has to step in and assist private developers and nonprofit developers. And by partnering with the private sector and the nonprofit communities, we can build more housing and meet the needs of that are out there.
And how do you feel your experience as a woman in politics has shaped your approach to issues like affordable housing?
Yeah, there's definitely a dominance of males in the state legislature, but every year the number of women is growing, women representatives and senators. And I think, we bring the perspective of just rolling up our sleeves, getting into the details of legislation and working with others, being very collaborative about how to solve some of these problems. And so I um, enjoy working with other female legislators, women from all walks of life who you really have to make a sacrifice to work in the public sector. There's a lot to balance, especially those who live on the neighbor islands where you're really, have to go between two households, one in on your island and then in Honolulu from January until the first week of May. We're basically in Honolulu for 5 days a week, and it's a tough life to live, but it's also very challenging and I enjoy it. I enjoy this work.
Wow, I can imagine all the flights coming from two islands. What
Mm.
advice would you give to high school students who also wish to enter electoral politics? What skills do you believe are essential for these students?
Oh boy. Um, I was very fortunate at the University of Southern California. I had the opportunity to get into a public affairs program, which is similar to public administration. Uh, got to spend an internship in Washington, D.C., working for a national nonprofit organization and learn about the federal government through that lens. Um, I would suggest, you know, learn about what really you're passionate about and get some experience, get out there, learn the laws in whatever field of interest um, you have. And I would say, um, uh, you know, learn and talk to people who are in that field. Don't be afraid to set up interviews with people in government. Many people want to talk and share and help the next generation. So I would say a lot of a lot of people during the session get jobs to work for legislators, to learn about the legislative process. There are over 300 full-time jobs that are available in that period between May and the January and the first week of May. And so I would, recommend that people get uh, take advantage of the opportunity to learn about how the legislative process works, and also get involved in your community, whether it's a neighborhood board or a community organization, recycling drives, cleanups, Genki balls. There's so many opportunities to um, work in the lo'i and learn about preserving our natural resources. So many ways to get involved in community. So find something you're passionate about, get involved, and all of that helps in building your resume and your understanding about how things work.
Thank you so much for that advice. It's very useful for students like myself. And lastly, I wanted to ask, what advice would you give specifically to young women in high school who want to enter politics?
Oh, I would say um, to to learn, boy, learn about get involved in a campaign at the very local level, whether it's a council race, even a neighborhood board race. Be involved in that team activity of um, supporting a candidate that you believe in. I would say learn what it takes to put up signs and banners and put together social media posts and um, materials to send out to residents. Um, be a part of canvassing a community and sign waving and all the things that it takes to get elected. Build your list, your mailing list of friends and family. Build and grow that list because that will be your core supporters. And start now. Um, uh, I would say learn, take classes, in pol- uh, public policy, take classes in political science, read about, the leaders who interest you and people who you admire.